Welcome to the GoodViral podcast.
We believe that people can and want to do more to help others.
So we invite you to join the conversation about the small and large ways that we can help people, animals, and the planet. We'll talk about real stories, like the turtle who had a straw stuck up its nose and how the video went viral in 2018 and changed the course of businesses like megacorp Disney to change their straws to paper. We'll exchange exciting ideas and meet with guests who are actively making a positive impact with their time on this earth.
You don't have to do much to inspire a lot. Through this podcast, we want to make things easier for people like yourself to get involved.
When good goes viral, the world gets better. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GoodViral podcast. This is Demian and
Anastasia.
We're pretty excited about our topic today. We actually want to talk about the conversation. So for me, it's interesting because we've got a lot of ambitions with GoodViral. We think there's a lot of potential and a lot of people who are very interested in many different ways. And so sometimes it's a little bit difficult, even in this stage. We're fairly young, as it were. And even in this stage, it's difficult sometimes to identify or explain to people what it's really all about. And really, for me, more than anything, it's about the conversation. It's about starting and furthering the conversation. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, mm-hmm. So for me, and I'll go ahead and start, and then I'm going to ask Anastasia to jump in and give her opinions as well, is that for me, the idea is very simple, is that Anastasia and I have started a conversation between us about how we can do more, because as we always say, we believe that people can and want to do more to help others. And for me personally, I felt like, well, yes, with my normal activities, I'm doing a certain amount of things, but then there's this off time when I feel like I'm sort of missing opportunities to really do things that are more meaningful, more that are more fulfilling, that contribute more, that make me feel more connected to my dreams or my ambitions in life. Sort of in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to do something that contributed in a bigger way. And I think a lot of people feel that same way. The question is, well, how do you do that, right? And I finally, realized that it all starts with the conversation. It all starts with exchanging the ideas with other people. And that's exactly what happened with Anastasia and I, is once we started talking about this, we started talking about, well, how can we make it easier for people to be involved? How can we give more opportunities for people to do good things? And our idea is very simple. It's that, it doesn't have to always be like a specific thing. In other words, there's a lot of beautiful organizations out there, charitable organizations that believe in a cause and are furthering a cause. But for us, what's important is that what we want to do is we want to inspire and encourage people to do something that they're not already doing, or to do more than what they're already doing. And so it could be really any cause, but if we can inspire a person to go from maybe not having been doing anything at all to suddenly they're doing something or contributing in a big way. And then as the conversation develops with more people, as more people are involved in the GoodViral conversation, they will be connecting with others that are in that conversation. So really, it starts with talking about ways that we can do things, what's already being done out there, what are the possibilities, and then we just expand on that as we connect and as we meet other people. And so, of course, for me, it starts with the conversation, and then the most important thing is the network of people. But the core of it is the conversation. So what do you think about that, Anastasia? What are your thoughts?
You definitely hit all the nails on the head with that one. It's interesting because, yes, we came into this just having a conversation and being like, how is there ways that we can do more as well as others? But one piece that I'm discovering more and more with having this conversation are the things we're discovering with other people. There's all these causes and things we can do, but other people, and what they're saying is they just don't know where to go. They don't know quite what to trust. They don't know what's really out there that they think they could help with too. Sure, we see things in the news, we see things online, we hear, stories through social media, but we're, again, stumped in terms of what could we do. We see viral videos all the time through, whether it's the creator themselves or it's through these other companies that really put viral video out there, whether they are the news channels or independents. And it's a nice, wholesome story, or it's a tragic disaster, or whatever it may be, but there's no call to action that's happening to it. And so when we hear these stories or see these stories, it's information, but it's not a call to action. And so there's that piece missing there that I feel like we're starting that conversation with. It's, okay, we're telling stories, now what? Or we're having this conversation, now what? Right? And so these people that we're talking to are starting to go, wow, that's such a great idea, because again, every time I see all of these stories, there's no call to action. I'm not sure what to do or where to go or how I can help. And so they're just stumped. I know I myself have seen some of these stories, and I would even go on my Facebook page and just do a Facebook blast. Yes, I'm old and I do Facebook. And so I put it out on Facebook and I'm like, hey guys, how can I help in this capacity? And very few people have given me call to actions. They just say, just donate to the nonprofit or to this or whatever organization. But to me, that wasn't enough. I wanted to actually get in a volunteer type mode, and no one seemed to have that information, and it was very difficult to find. So I feel like these conversations are going to help find clarity, not only in what the causes or what the conversations are, but also what's next. How can we get involved even more, whether it's monetary or if it's volunteering or if it's spreading the word, right? And so just more clarity, I guess, in terms of that action piece that's kind of missing in a lot of these messages and stories. And so that's why I'm really excited about this podcast, and what we're doing here with GoodViral is having that conversation so people understand what are some great ways that people can get involved, and what are the issues that are realistically out there that are really making direct impacts versus just kind of the gossip or the word that we're seeing through news channels. So I'm excited to not only have these conversations and help our audience, but I myself am excited to hear not only the stories, but also the call to action pieces that I've been looking for myself. So I'm very excited about this podcast.
Yes, I think it's, if you walked down the street on any major city, right? You walk down a busy street and you had like this box with a red button on top of it, right? And you just held it up to everybody and you said, press this button if you want to do good things. Mm-hmm. I'll bet you almost everybody would hit that button, of course. So I think that, instinctively we all want to do that, but generally it's sort of human nature, right? To observe, to watch, to see an interesting story and to say, oh, that's nice that they're doing that. And to not feel like really any impulse to be part of it, Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do, but most of the time, because there's so many things going on out there, the information just goes in front of us and it's like, yeah, that's them, but it's not me, And with GoodViral, what we're really all about is saying, look, we don't really care what it is that you're doing or what it is that you're contributing to or how it is that you're doing or contributing. But if you take a step and then maybe another step, or also those people who are already taking a lot of steps, who are already doing a lot of things, it's maybe they can connect in more and more profound ways. And so really, that's what we're doing, right? As you say, the call to action, it's like, okay, here you go. Here's an opportunity. It could be to give or to sponsor, or it could be an opportunity to connect with others, or it could be an opportunity simply to volunteer your time to do something, or there's so many different ways. But the reality is that there's probably a lot better ways that you would probably rather spend your time. I think I said probably rather about 15 times there, but you would probably rather spend your time doing things that were having a really positive impact or a positive effect, whether it be on your community, whether it be on your country, or whether it be the world. I think most of us have this urge, we have this desire that we would like to do these things, Again, I always go back to the example of helping the old lady across the street with her groceries, right? Who wouldn't do that, right? I mean, I guess some people, would be like, get out of the way, old lady. but I think most of us, we just want to connect. We just want to do something, and it makes us feel good. And it's interesting this about the conversation. I was talking to somebody yesterday, a good friend of mine, and I was exposing him to GoodViral for the first time and explaining sort of what we're about. And as soon as I started having the conversation with him, he says, "That's interesting." And then he started telling me about things that he felt like he was doing, and also people that he knew that were doing things. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, this is exactly it. This is the conversation. Once you start talking about it, once you start sort of putting it out there, people just naturally jump into it. And so now for many people, like you said, for many people, it could be just there's a missing piece and there isn't any easy way for them to get involved right now. And so GoodViral is here. We're here to provide that. We're here to connect you with organizations. We're here to teach you about organizations. We're here to give you the opportunity to contribute in some ways. And also just ideas, even if it's not an organization. And we're also looking to connect you with other people that are just like you. Other people that, I mean, if you think about the kind of friends that you would rather have in your life, wouldn't you rather have more friends who are trying to do good things out there, right? If you're going to add to the kind of relationships that you've got, this is a perfect opportunity to find those kinds of people, because we're like-minded in a sense. We are really just saying, hey, there's got to be more that I can do. There's got to be a better way that I can live this life. There's this expression that's been out there forever of, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Well, we are automatically part of the problem. We can't avoid that. As soon as you're alive, you're part of the problem. But guess what? Doing the things to solve the problems is life. That's what it's about. So I have a question for you. I'm going to throw this back on you, because we wanted to talk about how we further the conversation and why we're having the conversation, what other people can do to be involved. So I'm going to start with the first one. For you, Anastasia, what is your idea about how GoodViral is furthering that conversation?
How I think we're furthering the conversation really is talking to the people that are on the ground floor of these issues, these causes, or these action pieces that we want to learn more about. There are some people out there who talk about causes in a pretty large landscape and are very much in a celebrity type fashion, but we're not really hearing deep details. And again, we're not hearing these details from them specifically of how we can really do things. For a great example of that, Angelina Jolie, I'm a huge fan of Angelina Jolie in terms of her acting career, but also in her philanthropic and just really her support for UNICEF. She was an ambassador for UNICEF for a couple of years, I believe, maybe more. And it was after her time doing a movie called Beyond Borders. In Beyond Borders, she plays this character that goes to places in Sudan and Cambodia and so on. And she really got to see a lot of the heartbreak that was happening in those areas, and it changed her life forever. So she started working with UNICEF for just a couple of years or so as an ambassador. And she's going to all these areas, in helping children in war-torn areas. That's kind of why she has all these adopted kids from different areas and such, because of that impact of her that happened in her life and spreading that message as well. So that's a big person on a big screen going to do big things. And we are inspired by that, but it's also very detached because she's such a big person. So when people look at Angelina Jolie, unfortunately, we're just like, how can I do those things? I'm not Angelina Jolie. I can do pieces of Angelina, but I can't do all of that, even though I inspire to do that. The truth of the matter is, you could do all of that. Maybe not be on the big spring right away, but you could go on and be part of UNICEF and all of those things. So it's really talking to the people that aren't on those big screens to have those conversations, because not only do we feel more connected because they're not on those celebrity type lists, they are people on the ground floor doing, in a sense, the dirty work or spreading the message or, in charge of organizations or working in those organizations and making those movements. And we can relate to those people and we can start to feel like, I can take this action, I can do that action. And usually the call to actions are very simple and very direct, whether it's, again, just to share the message, spread the word, or it's monetization or volunteer activities, but you're hearing it from the source. And that's what I really like about it. The thing about Angelina Jolie is that she's not the source of UNICEF. and so she's just a wonderful image and able to carry that, in a sense, sponsorship to help carry that message. So people are listening more. But a lot of you listening probably didn't even know about that with Angelina Jolie. She was an ambassador for UNICEF for a very long time. And so we need to talk and have these conversations with people that are doing the work every single day in organizations that aren't on the big billboards, that aren't on the big screen. We need to talk to these people, and not only to spread their words, but again, to connect and have that call to action that seems and feels practical, and probably is practical, so that people can take those small actions to big steps, whichever those causes they really care about. So that's one big piece in how I see, there's many pieces, but that's one big piece in how I see we're furthering that conversation.
And like I said, as far as inspiring people to be involved in the conversation and what people can do, as I mentioned, the conversation I just had yesterday with my friend, is he was telling me that one of his friends who now teaches surfing, and of course it's not surfing. What is it? When you stand on the surfboard, you have a paddle. I don't remember what that's called.
Yeah, paddleboard.
Okay,
yep.
Something. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, she teaches that, and she used to teach yoga, so she's got just a little bit of a following of people that are in her network, and so on Facebook once a month, he was telling me that she just sends out there to everybody. She says, hey, on such and such day, I'm going to be out on the beach. I'm inviting all of you to come out, and we're going to do a beach cleanup. And this is an example of how, even a person that has absolutely not a single extra dollar that they can contribute to anything can still meet and actually do something on a day. And at the end of the day, you feel better. You're associating with other people who are also looking to do good things. At the end of the day, you get to see the results. You get to enjoy the beach. I mean, this is a place that she's using on a regular basis, and it's more beautiful because of the work that she's doing, or that she's inspiring other people to do. And if she doesn't volunteer to do that, if she doesn't just, then who's going to do it? That's most often what happens, isn't it? Is that we're expecting the government to take care of all the problems, or we expect some other organization or somebody else to do it. And I think that one thing that we're looking to inspire people to do is to say, hey, you know what? It's time for me to do something. It's time for me to be involved. So that comes us to our last question. So this is really, how can you be involved? And we've already hinted at that a bit, but why don't you talk about in what ways our listeners out there can get involved?
So really, again, it's just furthering that conversation and being okay with that conversation too with others. And here's a hint: if you're not feeling like you're comfortable speaking about these things with others, chances are you're in the wrong room. But one of the things to help further the conversation and to help get the message out is, in ways you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, social medias, everywhere. We are GoodViral.org, at GoodViral.org, and all of those areas. Also follow us on our website. We always put our podcast on there and send out emails through that. And, listen to our podcast and share it with your friends. That's one piece that you can really help, further the conversation. The other piece is listen to topics that you really care about. That's on our podcast. Go ahead and scroll through the episodes and, see which one you'd like to listen to. I'm always going to suggest one of our first guests, which is going to be Christine, who created that turtle with the straw up its nose video that went completely viral, and it changed the world and how we look at straws. I mean, this video is pretty much 100%, I'm going to say 99% the reason why we have paper straws today. And so if you ever wondered why these paper straws, where they came from, it's from this one video. And that's part of the message that we have with this Good Viral, is by spreading these messages, spreading these words, we can start to make viral good. And by those good things, maybe we can make more things happen, like the paper straws. And so it's a ripple effect. So go ahead and follow, go ahead and share, and be part of our community. And we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and comment in those spaces as well. Let us know what topics or things you've heard of that you think are really great, because chances are we may not have heard of them, and maybe we would like to talk about them as well. So we look forward to hearing from all of you and how you'd like to contribute and to further the conversation.
And I'd like to jump in there and just finish that by saying, there isn't any one of you that could possibly be listening to this that cannot contribute or make an impact. Every person is important. Every person is a part of this world. Every person is involved in this world, whether they want to be or not. And all we're basically doing is saying, hey, be involved in a better way if you can. Realize what your connection is to all of the rest of the people, the animals, and the planet. Own that connection. If I'm going to do something, I'm gonna do something now. I'm gonna start. And once you start, you're going to connect with us. You're going to connect with our network. You're going to connect with our people who believe in what you believe in, and we're all going to do this together. And just watch. I want to say one last thing, because this is important, I think, to understand about Anastasia and I, is that we believe in this because this is an extension of our deepest values. GoodViral is not just an idea for us. This is a way to fulfill on the things that we feel in our hearts are the most important things to us. And so this is literally, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is my life. This is what's important to me. And I know there's a lot of you out there who are listening right now that probably feel the same way. So we want to hear from you. We want to connect with you. We want to know who you are. We want you to meet other members. We want you to meet other people that are also connected to us. And we're going to do something, not just something, but we're going to do many amazing things. And it's an exciting journey that we've got ahead of us.
Yeah, I think we can always hint that it doesn't end with the podcast. We have other things coming. Podcast is just where we're starting to further that conversation. So thanks for joining us on the GoodViral podcast. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you at the next one.
Thank you for listening to the GoodViral podcast and being part of the conversation. If you are inspired by this episode, go to our website at goodviral.org, where you can find resources and listings from the episode to continue good efforts.
Like, comment, and share this episode to any or all of your social media channels. It's really easy to take a small action, and maybe you'll inspire a big result.
When good goes viral, the world gets better.